Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. We're going to start the chapter Monopoly today. This is your last topic from your Eco 101 syllabus. I am Nafisa Ismail, your course instructor for this chapter. I'm following the book Economics, 6th edition by Parkin, Powell and Matthews. This is chapter number 12 from that book. Goals. After completing the Monopoly chapter, you should be able to explain how monopoly arises and distinguish between single-price monopoly and price-discriminating monopoly. Explain how a single-price monopoly determines its output and price. Compare the performance and efficiency of single-price monopoly and competition. Market power and monopoly. You already know what markets are. A market is an arrangement where buyers and sellers come in contact with each other in order to exchange goods and services. Now, market power and competition are two forces that operate in markets. Market power shows a firm's ability to influence the market, particularly the market price. And firms can do this by influencing the total quantity of output that they sell. You've already covered this in the last chapter. You know what perfect competition is. So you already have an idea about competitive markets. Under perfect competition, there are many buyers and many sellers. Hence, firms in perfect competition have no market power. They face market competition and are price takers. That means perfectly competitive firms do not have market power and they cannot influence the market price. Now, if we look at competition of markets, on one end, you have perfect competition. On the other end of the spectrum, we have monopoly. A monopoly market structure, in contrast to a perfectly competitive market structure, is a single firm producing a particular good or service. That means there is no competition in the market, and the monopoly itself is the industry, because there are no other firms in that market. The monopoly itself is the total market or the industry. Some examples of monopoly includes the Microsoft Corporation, Google, Dhaka Wasa, etc. All these firms are monopolies. They have very strong market power. To give you an example about monopoly and market power, let's take the example of Google. As of February 2018, in the United States, when all the search platforms were compared, it was found that Google's market share is 90.8%. That means Google has a very strong dominance in the market, it has market power, and it has the ability to control the market. How monopoly arises. How does a firm become a monopoly? There are two factors that determine this. Number one, no close substitutes, and number two, barriers to entry. No close substitutes. The monopoly firm, that means the monopolist, produces a product or service for which there are no close substitutes available in the market. The monopolist is the only firm producing that particular good. Since the entire market is dominated by one single firm, and that particular firm is producing a good or service that has no close substitutes, the monopoly has market power. And barriers to entry? Barriers to entry into the market prevents competition from arising in the market. Barriers to entry basically are constraints that protects a firm from potential competitors. Because if competitors enter the market, there will be competition and the monopoly firm will lose its monopoly status and it will no longer have the market power. Thus, these two factors, having no close substitutes of the good or service that the monopoly produces and barriers to entry that prevents other firms from entering the market are the two factors that lead to the rise of a monopoly. Because of these two reasons, no close substitutes and barriers to entry, the monopolist has market power and does not face any competition. Let's talk a little more about barriers to entry. There are different types of barriers to entry. As I said before, barriers to entry may lead to a monopoly market structure. Barriers to entry limit or prevent competition by blocking entry of new firms into the market. Now, there are two types of monopolies based on the types of barriers to entry that they exploit. The first one is known as legal barriers to entry. The second one is known as natural barriers to entry. Legal barriers to entry. Legal barriers to entry create legal monopolies. A legal monopoly arises when the law prohibits or limits competition in the market. A legal monopoly is a market in which competition and entry are restricted by the granting of a monopoly franchisee, a government license, a patent, or a copyright. A monopoly franchisee is basically the government authorizing or granting a particular firm to carry out a particular business or to produce a particular type of good or service. Only that firm that has been granted the monopoly franchisee can carry out that operation. No other firm can do it. A government license, on the other hand, is a legal document which is issued to particular people in particular professions in order to operate. For example, if you want to become a doctor, you need the license to practice medicine from the government. If you want to become a lawyer, you need a license. If you want to become a pilot, you need the flying license, etc. A government license restricts competition. Any person who thinks they have some knowledge on health and medicines cannot suddenly start practicing medicine, cannot suddenly become a doctor. Okay? A government license grants these professionals to competition in their profession. A patent. Now, as we know, innovating something takes time and resources to achieve. Innovation is a costly and time-consuming thing. Now, suppose a company invests in research and development and finds cure for common cold, for flu. Now, in today's world, other companies could easily steal that formula, produce that exact same drug, without even incurring the costs of research and development and without spending all the time behind that research. Now, given this possibility, many firms would actually never choose to invent in research and development. And we would not have innovation in the world. A patent gives the inventor of a product the exclusive legal right to make that product, use that product, and sell that newly invented product for a particular period of time. That's the use of a patent. Again, it is limiting competition and promoting research and development. A copyright pretty much does the same thing. A copyright is granted through artists. Okay, it protects books, it protects music compositions, songs, artwork, etc. All these basically legally protect firms and individuals from competition. And these legal barriers create legal monopolies. Next up, we have natural barriers to entry. Natural barriers to entry create natural monopoly, an industry in which one firm can supply the entire market at a lower price than two or more firms can. Natural monopoly occurs when a single company can serve the market most efficiently. It arises because of the high startup costs, high fixed costs, and economies of scale. Now, since fixed costs are very high, it will result in it not being very effective for more than one firm to exist in the market. For example, if we consider water, gas, or electricity supply in a city. In order to recover such high capital costs or fixed costs, for recovering such high capital investments, very high amounts of output needs to be produced. That is, It results in situations where economies of scale are very substantial. It means economies of scale are very large. A huge amount of output needs to be produced in order to enjoy falling long run average costs, or economies of scale. Natural monopolies often arise in industries where the marginal cost of producing an additional unit, or over here, for example, in the case of water supply, the marginal cost of supplying to an additional household is very low. Once the fixed costs and the overall system are in place, it costs very low amount of money to cater to an additional customer. For example, once the water company has installed the extremely expensive water treatment plants and laid the water pipes throughout a city, the marginal cost of providing water to another home is fairly low. But it would be extremely costly, and in fact, it wouldn't make any sense for a second or third firm to enter the same market, invest in a whole new water supply system, and start supplying to different homes. Such industries, for example, Dhaka Wasa, Desco, Bangladesh Railway, etc., because of such high startup costs and because of substantial economies of scale, it is only feasible for one producer to serve the entire market efficiently. In fact, only a single producer can serve the market more efficiently than a number of smaller producers. Because each and every small producer, when they enter the market, have to duplicate the entire physical capital investment, invest the same amount of money, go through all that hassle, and then set up the farm. And this becomes pretty impractical. That's why when fixed costs are so high and when economies of scale are so substantial, only a single firm can survive in the market. These firms are known as natural monopolies because these firms have become monopolies because of natural barriers.